People's Democratic Party South East CAUCUS are not hiding their feelings about the decision of the National Working Committee to affirm Senator Sam Anyanwụ as the party's national secretary against the South East choice of Sunday Ude-Okoye. Enugu State Governor Dr. Peter Mbah reiterated the stance of the CAUCUS on the heels of the Nigerian Guild of Editors Biennial Convention, which took place in Enugu. Now, will the South East eventually pull away from the PDP? And what would that mean to an already struggling opposition party? Peter Gregory Obi, during the weekend on an X space, expressed his readiness to make concessions so far such will salvage the country. He said he wouldn't mind being a one-term president if it came to that. He also confirmed being in talks over a new political movement. Is Peter Obi finally playing national politics? This is the Eastern Eye. I am Alex Ogbodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye, a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. Joining me tonight is Dr. Nick Obi'S. He's a public affairs analyst and former local government chairman. Also tonight is Dr. Chikezie Obasi, public affairs analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the Eastern Eye tonight.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, viewers.
All right, so let me start with you, Dr. Nick Obi'S. The PDP, we've been hearing this. The Southeast Caucus issued a statement, I think it was maybe about 2 months ago, thereabouts, if my memory serves me right. And they're saying that their position is that, all right, that SKE Ude-Okoye will be the secretary of their choice. But then, that if that doesn't happen, they will reconsider their stance on position within the party. But now, the party seems to have taken a different direction, affirming Senator Sam Anyanwụ as secretary of the party. So, is it now or never for the Southeast Caucus?
Thank you, Alex. The issue of Sam Anyanwụ and Ude-Okoye has been a national PDP issue. It's not even peculiar to Southeast. The National Working Committee and the BOT members of PDP affirmed that Ude-Okoye remains the secretary, the national secretary of PDP. And then the other people working with the NEC, Nyesom Wike and his supporters, they went ahead trying to maneuver the decision of the party. And forgetting also that there is a clause in the constitution of PDP that any internal matter of the PDP they always resolved within the party and not even by court per se, not minding even that the appellate court gave a judgment to Ude-Okoye. So for PDP South East to say they stand on what the BOT and what the NEC has said, I think what they're saying is right. Otherwise, next time, when you say anything concerning Southeast, they will say they are nobody. So the governor of Enugu State has stood his ground with his supporters and the entire Southeast, Odefa, and the rest of them, and say that they stand by what the BOT and what the National Working Committee of PDP said concerning Ude-Okoye. So to allow Sam Anyanwụ to take over the leadership of PDP is an affront to the position of PDP in the Southeast. And secondly, this will go a long way also to creating a room for Nyesom Wike and cohort with the acting national chairman of PDP to anchor on the people that will contest the election and those that will be disqualified. And also, if we allow that, it means that this set of people are holding PDP hostage. So the ineptitude of PDP administration headed by the Damagu is obvious and conspicuous. So Nigeria should rise up, especially PDP, should rise up to say no to this unfounded attitude of the national chairman and Nyesom Wike. Look at the PDP governors. They stood strong with the National Working Committee and the BOT. So how comes that only 2 men or 3 men come up to say that they want to install Sam Anyanwụ? Of course, everyone should understand that there is a game on. That game on is that Igbo man says that if you cannot catch the cricket, you destroy the whole of the house where it lives. I think Nyesom Wike and the group, they are in a destructive mission to ensure that PDP does not even field candidates in the coming election. Because once there's division, the majority of the PDP members may not have the opportunity to pick tickets, especially those who are qualified to contest the election, the presidential, the senatorial, and even the governorship election. So we stand with our governor, Dr. Peter, His Excellency Dr. Peter Mbah, to say that the right thing should be done, and not allowing some people who feel that they are godfathers, or maybe they can hold everybody hostage to come and hold PDP. At a point, I advise that PDP should abandon for 3 or 4 of them, and the other members should join, any other party, that suits their manifestos and, of course, their program.
All right, then. Dr. Chukeze Obasi, when you look at what has happened in the PDP and what is still happening in the PDP, sometimes decisions are taken and you're like, wow, were all the stakeholders present when the decisions were taken? And do you think that they're insisting that Senator Sam Anyanwụ should be the national secretary was the right decision to take? When, if someone had gone to run for governor, even if you are a party executive, you are supposed to relinquish that position before going to contest. So the question is, perhaps if Sam Anyanwụ had won the governorship contest, he battled with Hope Uzodimma, that he would still be clinging onto the party secretaryship.
Okay, I think blame PDP for their woes, and then blame nobody. PDP hadn't actually fared well, ever since they lost the election in 2015. And my good friend who actually is taunting Nyesom Wike, if they really cast back their mind, they would understand that without the likes of Nyesom Wike, maybe PDP wouldn't have seen the light of the day beyond 2018 and 2019, because the party was almost comatose. And for the greater part of 2020, past 8 years, Nyesom Wike had remained a very prominent member of that political party, if not for the fact that that party had some issues during the presidential election. I bet you that party would have won the election the last electoral cycle. But what we are discussing now is beyond morality. For me, it's not beyond morality. When a case has been decided in the Supreme Court level, you might find it difficult. This matter has gone to Supreme Court, and the interpretation even INEC gave is that Senator Anyanwụ is the secretary of the PDP. One of your programs had always maintained that this is politics, and once you play politics and get to court, you await the outcome of the court. And once court takes a decision, any other thing you are doing at the affront to that court is an affront to, it tantamount to nullity. We saw that in Rivers State. You remember when the Supreme Court gave judgment on Rivers State? Some of us said that Fubara should just better go and look for a way of mending first with his friends, his boss, and benefactor. Eventually, they went the other way, went to High Court, and High Court simply told them, look, 27 lawmakers the Supreme Court had made a verdict on it. So the big issue here is, what was the situation of, what was the Supreme Court verdict on PDP secretary? If you call me morally to speak about this, I'll tell you that Anyanwụ has no local standing being a PDP secretary. But I don't want to go there because beyond morality, there's a court decision. Now, what was the court decision? And how did INEC interpret that court decision to me that Anyanwụ is the authentic party leader? If you go otherwise, you might actually be the person disenfranchising PDP. But what do? Convention is coming close. Politics is who gets what, when, and how. Play the game. I believe beyond all the shenanigans we're speaking, there is a game to be played. And that game has to be played. And for me, if you really ask me, PDP in the South East, I keep pleading with them, let PDP not die. 2006, PDP had 31 states governors across the federation. The little today remnant of APC and CPC and ANPP still clinged onto the remaining 5 states. Remember, then Abga was controlling Anambra State. So the remaining 5 states were claimed by the remnant part, and they metamorphosed back and bounced back into national limelight. So I think PDP shouldn't come from that. I believe that the resilience of PDP is strong. The founding fathers of PDP laid a very solid foundation. I believe that this is a trying time. And this is happening because of 2027 election. People are trying to take positions, and then in politics, this is how it is. People must take hard stands and hard decisions, And if when it's not falling ahead, people will embrace each other and then still understand their issues. But for me, I don't think PDP should completely extinguish itself from Southeast. It will not be fair for us. For so many of us who understand clearly, if there's one party that the Southeast had held dear to attest, it's PDP. The founders of PDP and most people that supported PDP from 1999 to today are PDP members. I believe these are very simple things that will be ironed out. It's interest that is playing out, And since now the Supreme Court has made a verdict, the most you can do is to go back to Supreme Court for interpretation. But if the verdict says that Anyanwu is the secretary of PDP as of today, there is little or nothing, except if you use internal mechanism of the party to remove Anyanwu. And I can tell you, just like he said, it might be difficult. For some of us who are core analysts who are not emotive about it, we'll tell you that pushing Wike and his cohorts out of PDP today is like pushing Doc of Gibraltar out. It's very difficult. There are a lot of dynamics and connotations that held Wike where he is. Wike is not just there because he's Mr. Wike. He is there on a mission. And all of us understand that clearly. So, but I think politically, you can work around it. Morally speaking, I see no reason why Anyanwu should have been there. But here we're talking about legality. That's the point.
Legality and morality, or legality versus morality, whichever way. Dr. Nico Biozonsi, what do you think is the card left for the Southeast caucus of the PDP? You think they will move with their bloc or wait it out until the next party's convention, just like Dr. Obasi said?
Well, I want to join my answer to the statement of Governor of Enugu State, who is the leader of the PDP in the Southeast, and should I even say the only son in the Southeast in terms of state leadership. The truth is that if Ude-Okoye is pushed out of that position, it means that the PDP South East, not just the Enugu State, have no local standing in demanding or contesting anything in the national PDP. The governor has told us that not only him, the entire Southeast, that following the stage-by-stage situation concerning Sunday Ude-Okoye, that Sunday Ude-Okoye remains the national secretary of PDP as recognized by the Southeast caucus of PDP, as recognized by the National Working Committee of PDP and the BOT members of PDP. So we have to toe the line of His Excellency Dr. Peter Mbah. His decision is the decision of the entire caucus of PDP in the South. It is not just his decision alone. It will be an affront that Ude-Okoye, whom we knew that legitimately inside PDP, he has been appointed as the PDP National Secretary. But because of interest of 2027, some people needed to push him out of that position in order to position their own people, I said it before now, during nomination. And it will not all go well for PDP if the entire Southeast abandons PDP for another party. And that is what is likely to happen unless if the center said, like what is happening in Rivers State, whereby the governor of Rivers State was asked, okay, for peace to reign, you have to run one tenure. And not only that, the entire local government chairman, you will not nominate anybody, just stay there like a statue and move closer to 2027 and then go quietly. It will not happen here. They can practice it there. The glaring eyes of everybody. We knew what happened in Rivers State, but it should be a discussion for another day. But in the Southeast here, we're insisting that we must follow our leader, the governor of Enugu State, Barrister Dr. Mbah, His Excellency. And of course, the entire Southeast CAUCUS, that's with National Working Committee and BOT, that said on Sunday Ude-Okoye we stand. Outside Sunday Ude-Okoye, well, they can have their party and we take our decision.
I mean, it's getting interesting, isn't it? So when you look at the dynamics now, it looks like no more options. But who will benefit from a much more fragmented PDP, Dr. Obasi? Who will benefit from a party that is already weakened, but then you continue to fragment it?
I think you should ask me that question.
You still. You can go ahead and answer it.
There are two people, I should call them 2-in-1 people that will benefit. One, the spoilers that will succeed in breaking down the PDP to the advantage of APC. When they play that game in PDP, one is that they will ensure that there may be no nomination if the crisis continues. And people nominated that is not being signed by the court-approved secretary, Anyanwu, will not be, INEC will not recognize them. So at the end of the day, find out that Southeast may not feed anybody during the election. And it will be to the benefit of APC. So it is glaring that they are doing all these things to make sure that PDP finally dives and then, in fact, buried and closed. So it is to the advantage, they are doing all these things to the advantage of APC, not to any other party. Even PDP might continue to remain, can continue to exist, but they may not be living. So PDP, if it's dead, it is to the benefit of the APC. It's very simple. And the people that are playing the game are the men who are playing one leg in and one leg out. Nyesom Wike is working for APC. He's an acclaimed PDP member. And he wants to remain that one leg, doing the destructive program with the left leg and then arranging APC with the right leg. And of course, he had what the president told him some time ago, that time has come for you to come to APC, that the field is open for you and you are most welcome. So what else are you expecting? A man that is doing the spoilers game, he even said that he vowed that what he did in River State, he would do it in Abuja. What else? I mean, which evidence do we need? A situation whereby a particular man in PDP cannot be disciplined according to the PDP constitution. Let me stop here, Alex.
All right, Dr. Obasi, let's have your response on that. Who benefits from? Who benefit? Let me be much more specific. If the Southeast decides to leave the PDP, to whose advantage would that be?
It is first disadvantage of the Southeast. We would like bargaining power. That's number one. Remember that our strength lies in our coming to the national level with a strong political force. So if you get into any other political party, we like bargaining power. ABGA have not really shown a national, outlook. For many of us who may not understand this clearly, APC came from SD. AD was taking a look at their Awolowo ideology. And from there went into AC, from there went into ACN, and then finally into APC. And then ANPP was of the Northern Extraction. If you remember 1999. PDP was not even being supported by the Southeasterners. Remember, even when Alex Ogbodo lost the election, he gave full support to Obasanjo. And if you really look at that 88 tenure of Obasanjo, the Southeast supported PDP, even when they lost at the primary level. Telling you that somewhat, if you really look at the seat in 1999, we had like tripartite arrangement of political structure. The AD was to the southwest, ANPP was to the north, and then APP then, and then PDP came with they call it a G32 option, but we know clearly the forces behind the PDP were from the southeast. So if we really look at it, what pressure are you coming to the national? So beyond Wike, I'm looking at it that if you take a look, PDP dies today. What bargaining tool do we have? We're going into APC, assuming we're going into APC, we ask them, as a configure. And what do we have there? We are just going to be taking only crumbs given to us. You needed that political party to galvanize yourself. That's number one. Then the next person that was going to gain is, what's the name? The president of Nigeria. He said clearly that I will be glad and it will be at his pleasure watching a PDP crumble. I mean, he didn't miss words, you know. It is to him, that he's now contending an unknown force, if you take a look at the last election, let's look at the statistics. Out of the 108-something thousand polling units, it's only PDP that had, agents across every polling unit across the federation. Every other political party had some. APC was the second, I think, 170-something thousand polling agents. So it means that there are some polling units, APC didn't have agents. But again, when you put it in terms of human resources, it simply implies that PDP is one of the strongest parties you can have in Africa, because it's fielded agents across the political world, so across political polling units in the federation. So when you see such party crumble, it is to the advantage of APC, who was unable to do that the last election. So APC knows clearly that PDP have got human resources that they could actually use in winning election, because once they crumble, they'll come into APC as who? As second fiddle, not really as major players in APC. Then before we talk about Wike's own interest is a little bit further. His interest, if you really look at it critically, is beyond 2027. Wike wants to maintain some structures so as to leverage, himself, leverage his strength against 2031. That's exactly what's happening. So if you look at it, Wike would actually be happy to see that he still holds the powers of PDP, because that becomes a bargaining tool. Don't forget that. Kwakwanso used AMPP to bargain, in Kaduna. So Wike wants to in Kano. Wike has to have a party he holds dearly. So it becomes a real bargaining mafia. And that's what Wike is trying to do. So it's not really about whether at Tinubu. So the three people that are going to gain or lose, first of all, I began with us losing, before I now went to APC, Tinubu, who will be so happy, and he had said it clearly that it is his pleasure looking at PDP. And then Wike, who is looking at himself, trying to leverage on that political structure, to launchpad himself against 2031. That's the simple truth.
All right, a few more things happening before we get to the P2B discourse. I think it was last week that most of the National Assembly members from Enugu State defected to the APC. First of all, it was Syracuse Sumehia that defected to the APC, and then you had the representative of the Enugu East and Isiozo, Professor Paul Namchi, defecting, and then Chibwe Samatu, that's his name, defected also to the APC. So what's chasing them from the Labour Party?
Labour Party has shown clearly that it doesn't, we've said this time with that number, it doesn't have leadership. It's obviously clear, Many of us have said after 1 year that Labour Party should have metamorphosed into international obedient movement, to be a political party. What are they doing in Labour Party? If you know clearly you have run an election without trusting the party hierarchy, what are you still doing with the party? They want to come into the party. You ran an election, it was a parallel election. I'm always realistic with my analysis and blunt. The issue is that you ran a presidential election, having a presidential committee run by obedient movement outside of the political party. Now, the whole thing has crumbled, and you cannot come to terms with the political structure. But you have gathered enough human beings, enough human resources, more than enough to even form a national party. Why didn't you move? So, for me, those people are moving simply because the national leadership of Labour Party lacked strong leadership. Remember that Syracuse you mentioned, at the point was touted as the factional chairman of APC in Enugu State, if you remember, under Nanadisman, when they were trying to form a party. So some of us felt that after that, and so on, they would have moved on to form a national party, just like you are seeing Atiku Abubakar and so on are doing now. And if they had done that about a year ago, I wouldn't have seen any of them moving. So to me, it's a minus on the leadership of Labour Party and the elected officers of Labour Party, including the flag bearer of presidential Labour Party. It was a very big slap on them. They could not galvanize themselves to put the card on the table, to play the chess. And it was a simple chess for me. For me, I didn't see anything difficult. We have finished the election. Obedient movement was an organic movement. We didn't spend so much money in organizing those people. People actually hosted themselves. I joined, in one of the rallies to see what we were doing during the rally. And I was trying to see how we were running the rally. I saw the young men, some people will buy t-shirts, print t-shirts, and make money. So many of them were, doing things to make sure that the movement went on. And on the traditional print media, they didn't advertise, but they utilized social media, to galvanize enough, use their Twitter spaces and so on. So I felt they had enough energy, enough vibrancy, enough human resources, enough IT connection. They would have leveraged, to see that they form a national party. But I mean, those that are living are simply living because you cannot be a politician in a place where you don't have a political party. The Nigerian Constitution has said you must belong to a political party to run an election. And today, they've shown defiance, disobedience to the Labour Party. So they are not sure of their ticket. So they better get into a party where they are sure their ticket will be given to them, or they will be able to struggle for their ticket by 2027. That's what I feel. So it is not lack of leadership.
Great. All right, Dr. Nick Obi'S, the defections that we've seen for the National Assembly members who are of the Labour Party, not all of them now, because some of them, one or two, joined the PDP from especially Enugu North Senatorial Zone. But do you think that this is an indication that Enugu's politics in 2027 will even be hotter than it was in 2023?
Let me leverage on the first question, the answer from my colleague here in terms of these defections and what is causing these defections. Chinua Achebe wrote a book. He said, "When the center cannot hold." Then he wrote another one. He said, "When the center cannot hold, the next one is things fall apart." And he wrote another one after. He said, "When things fall apart, he now say things are no longer at ease." If you look at the three stages, that is what's actually happening now in the Labour Party. The platform within which these people contested election, the platform is no more there. It's not like when you're standing on the ground, all of a sudden, the ground you are standing on leaves you. You'll be hanging like somebody in a gill. So the Labour Party, I said it before now that Labour Party is existing, but they are not living. The life in Labour Party was the obedient movement. Yeah. And once the obedient movement has moved, because obedient movement was not from a particular political party. Yeah. Even people who are not interested in politics, everyone came up that time. Even people in different political parties were part of the obedient movement, not minding their own political party. But that structure is no more there. It will take time to galvanize these people again, especially as I'm hearing that ADA is coming for everybody to follow ADA. That is the Advanced Democratic Alliance. So it will take time to start building on this new political party. Then you come to the defection issue as it affects Enugu State or the South East. I must tell you that the people that are running into APC are looking for a platform where they will be given tickets. They are afraid that their colleagues in APC may not give them that room to come and clinch tickets in PDP. So going into APC is another way also of trying to see if what happened in Imo State could be replicated in Enugu State, where number 4 later became number 1. So, and not only that, where your sins are forgiven, according to former APC national chairman, Oshimole. And Oshimole said that once you come into APC, no matter your crime, that your sins are forgiven. So some of these people who never did anything for their constituencies, knowing fully well that coming next election, their constituency will begin to ask for their scorecard. That is why majority of them are running into different political parties. I am happy for those who are coming into PDP to align with the governor of Enugu State. So even if PDP in Enugu State or in the Southeast are leaving PDP to another political party, they will go en masse. So it will be, I have said it's a dicey game. But come 2027, most of these things will play out. But I'm only looking at those who are running because they are running away because they've not done anything in their I'm talking about the National Assembly members. There are majority of them who never did anything to be recorded. And of course, you see billboards in what they are doing. That's why I'm happy with the governor of Enugu State. It's not a billboard governor. Anyone he says is doing, you see it live. It's not because of a PDP extraction or whatever. I was thinking that these National Assembly members will toe the line, will emulate the developmental project style of His Excellency Barrister Mbah. Are you getting me? Wherever you go, you see a giant footprint of a democracy dividend. You go to Holy Ghost, you go to international hospitals, you go to international conference center, you go to the new hotels in building, you go to smart schools in all the local government, you come to these are the things we are looking forward to see from the members of the National Assembly. Let me stop it.
All right, this is the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV. We'll take a break. When we return, we will talk about Peter Obi, whether he's making the right moves as 2027 approaches. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, the program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. My name is Alex Ogbodo. So let's talk about Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023. And yes, he's responded to questions on whether he will be on the ballot in 2027. He also said that if it comes to the fact that he will be a one-term president for the good of the country and to maintain the rotation between the North and the South, that he doesn't mind. Dr. Chikeze Obasi, a lot of people are saying, why did he say that? Why should he say that? Do you think that Peter Obi is waking up to the reality of Nigerian politics?
No. Peter Obi is very realistic as a Nigerian politician. He was there in 1999, under PDP, before he moved to Afghan in 2003 and contested election as a governor. Is he waking up to reality? Then, what am I doing? I'm not living in the council and I understand this. The only thing is that he was playing a politics of emotion. 2003, he played a politics of being seen as different from others. Now, it didn't really work out the way he wanted it.
But did it nearly work out?
In politics, nearly does not kill it.
No, I mean, let's be realistic too, since we are being realistic.
It was a little bit...
Did you expect that Peter Obi would chalk up the number of votes he did before that election happened?
While that election was going on, I must tell you that Peter Obi surprised everybody. I must tell you that. He pulled up a whole lot of surprises.
So he brought something new to the table?
Yes. He pulled up a lot of
But is he different, sincerely speaking, still?
If you ask me, he's not.
Okay.
Yes, he's not. I mean, he was among the first set of governors we had in Nigeria. I mean, let's be honest and be frank to ourselves. Forget about the rhetorics. If I have to be straight, I'm not in any way trying to say, let's discuss, arrangement or anything. But for me, I would have wanted to see what are those new things, that made Anambra State different. They really want me to be frank and honest with ourselves. That made it different from then Enugu State, made it different from, when I bring out HDI, Human Development Index, they look at, unemployment rate, look at things in security, educational level, and so on. I would have looked at it to see that difference. I didn't see that much. Yes, we can actually play politics and say anything we want to say. But the reality is that it will put all those indices into place, it becomes difficult. Then for me, again, one before we came on board, I was talking about I was talking about world order. Whenever you see a leader who is interested in Millennium Development Goals, SDGs, and world orders, let me be frank to you, that country will not survive. If anybody understands the clear picture of what is playing out, some of these rhetorics are meant to keep you perpetually where you are. So when you're telling me you are following World Bank order, following IMF, you are not going to move, because that particular order behind it are laced ideologies that will never allow you to thrive. For example, look at IMF, devalue your currency. Which country has ever thrived by devaluing their currency? Why hasn't America devalued their currency? Each time you devalue your currency, you go into perpetual poverty. How do you now tell me that best economists are there, and you're coming to tell me that you use that as a model? It doesn't really work. That's my own take. Now, for me, you need to get back as a leader and get back to the fundamentals. And there are three fundamentals. First, you must look at the population dynamics, including to today. I've not seen any leader in Nigeria who talks about population dynamics. And for emphasis, people should understand that by 1960, Britain was 60 million. Nigeria was 45 million. They had a GDP per capita more than ours. Ours was about $1,200 as of 1960. But we are smaller in number. Today, Britain is about 80 million. Still richer than us, and we are 230 million. How do you want to sour? How do you want to become a nation without talking about matching your population to your productivity? So I'm not seeing people who are telling me, I want to bring density, factor per density, this number of people per this area. I want to see those demographic, socioeconomic demographic data being put in places. That's number one. Number two, anybody who says we are going to run a country for 4 years and change the narrative is wasting his time. It is for those who are not grilled in the system and policies. For so many of the countries that are developed, look at what they do. If you remember, Margaret Thatcher, when she was in Britain in the 1980s, brought up about 40 years British developmental strategy that ended in early 2000. And they followed it. In India, you could see over the last 15 years, there's a systematic developmental plan. If you remember Russia, by 1990, Russia was decimated until Vladimir Putin came and they began a systematic restructuring of the system. You must practice a particular thing over a period of time. So if you are telling me that you are coming back to organize a human resource for a new Nigeria, I will listen. Because that is the most likely thing that will be in the short term. If I look at 4 years as a short-term project, you're looking at organizing human beings and changing the ideology, beginning to think of how do we de-westernize ourselves and remove colonial mentality and begin to look at ourselves as Africans first to chart our course. That is the way to go. But once you are coming to do the narrative of what has done, probably coming to bamboozle us with economic policies, you are wasting your time. You only talk to the voters, and that's why I was telling you that I'm annoyed why Nigerians wouldn't have eggheads to nip in the bud bad leaders. Because when you bring some of these things and they put on the table, you discover that these things will fail even before practice. And you can go ahead and name that country that has gotten a turnaround within 10 years. I can tell you it doesn't exist. And those countries that have actually what they did were so important is either you match your population to your economic growth or you match your economic growth to your population. But one must give away. And you must recite, change the narrative and bring your own system of governance that is not alien to those people. So if I listen and you tell me you are going to change the narrative, want to begin a human resource reorientation, Africanize Africans, that in 4 years you believe that you're going to get successors that will carry out with that, I will listen. Because one thing is clear, just like Ruto in Kenya, people were feeling that when Ruto comes in as the president, wonders will happen. What's happening in Kenya today? So people should be able, Africans and our people should be able to be realistic about how leaders and countries develop. For many of us, I keep saying, please, you can go and you can read up 1640, history of the Euro. You can read 1848. You can read how we came to Berlin Conference, what we call the 1885 conference, Berlin Conference, how Africa was fragmented. If you don't understand this, and understand it till 1950 when the white men left, and how they left all the colonial mentality, and we colonizing ourselves for the white man till today, you might not understand how to unravel our problems. And when you understand the dynamics, you might begin to say, this is what is realistic. But if it were just to come there and put 4 years and go, it doesn't, you can just tell that to the birds. To me, as an analyst, it doesn't jive.
All right then. So, Honorable Dr. Nick Ozonsi, is 4 years too small for a president to make a difference?
Alex, I think we're only discussing but not forcing solutions to the problem. P2P, people liked him, he has the political will, but his ambition does not allow him to see ahead, or maybe to allow him to see the end of the tunnel. Because 4 years, based on what he has been clamoring, that what he has been saying he will do for Nigerians or whatever, is not even enough for him to lay down his policies and even organize his program in such a way that it will reach our Nigerians. Why I say that his ambition is that he wants to be a president. He wants to tell people, yes, this is what is coming from. Peter Obi may only succeed in giving out his programs or telling people about his program as a president, but even 8 years is not enough for a president to, execute his programs and get it down to the grassroots. So Peter Obi, like I said, he said it's a gentleman's agreement. After him making 8 years in the south, then he goes to the north. I am not foreseeing the possibility of Peter Obi, coming that 4 years and going out. The truth is that the man who is on the stage, yes. I said it in this studio, Tinubu is spreading his dragnets to ensure that he anchors in all the states, especially those states where you have the bulk of the millions of votes, like Kano, Lagos, and what have you.
If we follow this your analysis, so is it safe to say that all those who are aspiring to be president in Nigeria should go to sleep until after 2027?
Aspiration is not a crime.
Yes, but from your analysis, the president is...
We didn't say anybody should go and sleep, but then...
He has an unassailable lead in terms of what he's done.
We should not be counting our chickens before the eggs are hatched.
Very quickly before I go to Dr. Obasi. So with what you've said, we've had presidents in the past who, especially if we're casting our minds back, former President Jonathan, it was said that they had an agreement for him to do just one term and return power to the North. The argument that ensued later was that he didn't want to keep to that agreement, and then the PDP imploded, which ultimately created the problem they are still trying to solve till today. Yes. So are you saying that a P2B will not keep to that?
The Bible said that the heart of man is deceitful. P2B might agree that we do only 4 years. But at the end of the day, maybe after seeing the things surrounding the presidency, power is,
and they start telling you that it's your constitutional right. That was what they told President Jonathan.
P2B, if he wins the election, oh, glory be to God. But I'm not foreseeing that 4 years he's talking about as a realistic, statement.
So do you believe that he will do well in 4 years? That 4 years will be enough?
He cannot do anything in 4 years, but he can help in maybe putting down, it's just like a theory and practical, drawing a house and then going to implement the foundation.
Sorry that I'm interrupting you a little more.
He can help in, putting policies, for Nigerians. But before P2B can excel, there must be a constitutional amendment, and which he cannot achieve within 4 years.
Yes.
There must be an amendment, that will reform that will give us a better electoral reform, where the presidency will no more be picking the INEC chairman and the state INECs and what have you. Nigeria need a proper reform. So just dancing like a bird being carried by wings in terms of going for election is not just enough for P2P to go and say that you want to win election.
We have just about 3 minutes to go. I just want us to talk it in a minute and a half. Dr. Obasi, do you think that the ADA, the new party they are trying to register, will make a big political splash in Nigeria if it gets registered? Do you think that it has all the trappings of a party that can hurt the APC?
Let me tell you something. There's something you mentioned here, and that's what you mentioned. In 2015, why was it different for Jonathan? The governors had concluded a second tenure. So many of them had new ambitions. Many of the governors that left PDP, that worked against Jonathan, we are looking for opportunities to get into the new system. Good. The governors today are only interested in having their second tenure. They will not give support to that ADA. Go and mark my words.
And that ADA we are talking about, as far as Erufai is there and Atiku is there, people will run away from that ADA. These are the people that people are afraid of. Even Rotimi Chibike Amechi. So these are the people who could not find their feet in the current regime. So looking at El-Rufai, people will start away. That was why the current regime could not give him even a minister. Like Chibika Amechi too. And Atiku, everybody was asking, Papa, you have tried, go and rest. Allow the young ones, and he refused.
Let me remind you, Constitution Atiku cannot be a vice president to P2B.
That's right. He's completed 2 terms as vice president.
If you understand the article, once he's out of the game equation, he's completely out. Without article in that your new ADA, you're going nowhere in the north. That's the simple truth. So yeah, and P2B, as P2B agrees he was going to be a vice president to allow Atiku Abubakar, but I can still tell you to have his own drawback. One thing is clear: unlike 2015, these state governors today are going in for re-election. They are not interested in going against.
And the North cannot sacrifice their term again. No.
All right, that would be a good place to leave it. There is a zoning and regional consideration for this. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Dr. Nick Obi'S, public affairs analyst and former local government chairman, and Dr. Obasi Chikezie, public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your insights and submissions on the program tonight. That's the Eastern Eye for tonight. Do join us tomorrow, same time, for another episode of the program. My name is Alex Ogbodo. Good night.